Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare
Going to read Srimad
Rama.
Bhagavatam. Anybody like to share anything before?
Yes, Prabhu, I can share one verse.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranams.
So first from the Shavdara Stotra. वसति दशन शिखरे धरणी तव लग्ना शशिनि कलंक कलेव निमग्ना केशवधृता शूकर रूपा जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे जय जगदीश हरे. This verse is saying that, O Lord Keshav, O Lord Hari, O Lord of the universe, who took the form of the Shukar boar, all glories unto you. When earth was immersed in the Garbhodaka ocean at the bottom of the universe, you took it out and placed it at the tip of your tusk, and like the spot on the moon. So all glories unto you. So now I want to say the three verses from the Gopi Geet. प्रणतदेहिनां पापकर्षणं तृणाचरानुगं श्रीनिकेतनं फणिफणार्पितं ते पदाम्बुजं तृणकुचेषुना कृन्दिरिज्जयम्. So this verse is saying that you place your lotus feet, it's pap karshanam, it destroys the sinful reactions of those who take shelter of it. And your lotus feet follow behind the cows in the pastures, and are the eternal abode of Shri Lakshmi Devi. And since you put your lotus feet on the heads of the great serpent Kalia, please put those lotus feet on our breasts and tear away the lust in our hearts. And Madhuraya Gira Valguvakyaya Putamanoghnaya Pushkarekshana Vidhikaririma Viramoyati Adarasiduna Pyayayasvana. So gopis are calling to Krishna two words. Pushkarekshana means O lotus-eyed one, and Veera, O hero. So lotus-eyed one, your sweet voice and your charming words, they attract the minds of those who are intelligent, and they are bewildering us more and more. O hero, your maid servants, please revive your maid servants by the nectar of your lips. Adhara Siddhana. And Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadattatam Bhuvi Grananti Ye Bhurida Jana. So, Tava Kathamritam, Krishna, the nectar of your words and description of your activities, they destroy the sinful reactions of whoever hear them. Tapta Jivanam. No, Tapta Jivanam is they are the life and soul, those who are suffering in the material world. Those who are burning in this material world, they are the life and soul of those. And Kavi, those learned sages who are spreading your message, Kalmashapaham, they destroy the sinful reactions and bestow auspiciousness, Shravana Mangalam, to whoever hears your messages. And Srimad Atatam, Atatam means these messages are broadcast all over the world, and Srimad, they are filled with spiritual power. And Bhuridajana, those who are spreading your message are most beneficial. Thank you, Prabhuji.
I can try to recite the first few verses. Jayati te dhikam janmana vraja Shrayata indira sashvadatrahi Daita drishyatam dikshutavakas Tvaidrita savas tvam vichinvate Sharadudasaye sadhujata sat Sarasijodara Shrimushadrisha Suratanathate Sulkadashiga Varadanignato Neha Kimvada Vishajalapayad Vyalarakshashan Varshamarutad Vedyutanalat Vishamayatmajad Vishvato Bhayad Rishabhate Vayam Rakshitamuhu न खलु गोपिका नन्दनो भवान् अखिलदेहिनां मन्तरात्मदृक् विखनसार्थितो विश्वगुप्तये सखौ देवान् सात्वतां कुले विरचिता भयं वृष्णिधूर्यते चरण ईयुषां संसृतिर्भयात् चरण ईयुषां संसृतिर्भयात् करसरोरुहं कान्तकामदं शिरसि देहिना श्रीकाराग्रहम् व्रजजनार्तिहन् वीरयोषितां निजजनस्मया दंशनस्मिता भजसखे भवात् किङ्करीस्मनो जलारुणाननं चारुदर्शया. If I say something wrong, then just correct me. प्रणतदेहिनां पापकर्षणं त्रिणाचरानुगं श्रीनिकेतनं फणिफणार्पितं ते पदाम्बुजं कृणकुचेषु न कृन्दिरिच्छयं मधुरया गिरा वल्गुवाक्यया बुधमनोज्ञया पुष्करेक्षणा विधिकरेरिमा वीरमुह्यतिर् अधरसीधुना अप्ययस्वना तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना प्रहसितं प्रिया प्रेमवीक्षणं विहरणं च ते ध्यानमङ्गलं रहसि संविदो या हृदिस्पृशा कुहकनो मना शोभयन्ति. Okay, we'll take the translation tomorrow in the interest of time. Did I miss anything? Any words there?
No.
So we'll continue with that. Yeah. Okay, so description of the characteristics of King Puranjana. So Puranjana is speaking to this beautiful girl that he's seeing. My dear beautiful girl, you are exactly like the goddess of fortune or the wife of Lord Shiva, Parvati or Lakshmi Devi, or the goddess of learning, the wife of Lord Brahma. Although you must be one of them, I see that you are loitering in this forest. So either Saraswati, either Lakshmi Devi or Parvati. You must be one of them. But I see you are such an important personality, but you are loitering in the forest. Indeed, you are as silent as the great sages. So he is praising. Is it that you are searching after your own husband? Actually, he is searching after a wife. So he's asking her, are you searching for your own husband? Whoever your husband may be, simply by understanding that you are so faithful to him, he will come to possess all opulence. He wants to know whether she is married or not. Maybe that is also. I think you must be the goddess of fortune, but I do not see the lotus flower in your hand. Lakshmi Devi carries a lotus flower. Therefore, I am asking you where you have thrown that lotus. Everyone thinks that his intelligence is perfect. Sometimes one employs his intelligence in the worship of Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva, in order to obtain a beautiful wife. Actually, that is the recommendation in Karma Kanda, that if you want to worship, if you want to get a beautiful wife, then you worship Uma. If you want to get a good husband, then you worship Lord Shiva. Or sometimes the wife of Lord Shiva ordered opted a beautiful wife. Yeah, so Uma, you and Lord Shiva to get a good husband. As the in Nimai's pastimes we see they were all worshipping Lord Shiva to get a good husband. Sometimes when one wants to become as learned as Lord Brahma, he employs his intelligence in the worship of the goddess of learning, Saraswati. So So Saraswati, is goddess of learning. So students worship Saraswati because they want Vidya. But real Vidya is spiritual Vidya. Sometimes when one wishes to become as opulent as Lord Vishnu, he worships the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi. In this verse, all these inquiries made by King Puranjana, the living entity who is bewildered and does not know how to employ his intelligence. Intelligence should be employed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as one uses his intelligence in this way, the goddess of fortune automatically becomes favorable to him. So, wherever there is Krishna, there is, what is that verse? Wherever there is Krishna, then there will be certainly victory, opulence, morality, power.
यत्र योगेश्वर कृष्ण यत्र पार्थ धनुर्धरा तत्र श्री विजयभूति ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम.
Last verse of Bhagavad Gita. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, never remains without her husband, Lord Vishnu. Consequently, when one worships Lord Vishnu, he automatically obtains the favor of the goddess of fortune. One should not, like Ravana, worship the goddess of fortune alone, for she cannot remain long without her husband. Thus, her other name is Chanchala or restless. In this verse, it is clear that Puranjana is representing our intelligence. So, Puranjana is representing our intelligence. While he is talking with the girl, he not only appreciated the shyness of the girl, but actually became more and more attracted by that shyness. So she was shy, but that shyness attracted King Puranjan. He was actually thinking of becoming her husband, and consequently was asking her whether she was thinking of her prospective husband or whether she was married. This is an example of bhoga ichha. Bhoga means enjoyment and ichha means desire. The desire for enjoyment. One who is attracted by such desires becomes conditioned in the material world, and one who is not so attracted attains liberation. King Puranjana was appreciating the beauty of the girl as if she were the goddess of fortune. But at the same time, he was careful to understand that the goddess of fortune cannot be enjoyed by anyone except Lord Vishnu. So he's saying, are you the goddess of fortune? But in his mind, he knows that she cannot be the goddess of fortune because goddess of fortune never leaves the company of Vishnu or Krishna. So she can't be, but he's asking like that. And in this way, he is praising her so that she will become favorable to him. Since he doubted whether the girl was goddess of fortune, he inquired about the lotus flower she was not holding. Yeah. But if you are the goddess of fortune, then you must be holding a lotus flower, but you are not holding a lotus flower. The material world is also the goddess of fortune because the material energy works under the direction of the Lord Vishnu, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. Maya dakshina prakriti suyate sacharacharam. So, just as Lakshmi is submissive to her husband, this material world is also, Prabhupada is saying, also the goddess of fortune. Durga Devi also works under Krishna's direction. Shristi Sthiti Pralaya Satna Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Bibharti Durga Ichhanurupam Api Yasya Cheshtate Sa Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Ichhanurupam. According to the desire of Krishna, she is acting. So, she is also very faithful maid servant of Krishna. This material world is also the goddess of fortune because the material energy works under the direction of the Lord Vishnu, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshina, Prakriti Sweda Sajaracharam. I was thinking if Putana came, she was also dressed she disguised herself very beautifully when she came into Nanda Bhavan to see Krishna in Gokul Mahavan actually. So was she twirling, it is saying, was she twirling a lotus flower in her hand when she came inside? Because everything.
Yes, I think so. That's what we read.
Hmm.
And everybody was attracted to her, but Krishna closed his eyes
Uh,
on seeing her.
and why did he close his eyes?
There are several reasons. Like
Hmm.
knows her heart is so sinful, she has been killing children. Secondly, and Krishna is thinking, oh, I have to kill a woman. Like in the last birth, also, first demon I killed was a woman. This birth also, it will be a
What
woman.
was the demon killed by Ram? Demon is killed by Ram.
Taraka, Tataka,
Tar- Tataka,
Tat, yeah,
Tataki or Tataka, whatever.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And he's thinking that Putana will be hesitant to pick me, so give her assurance. Several reasons.
Yeah, and there are more reasons I think Amrendra Prabhu also gives in his Puranjana series class.
Yeah, so it says that she was holding a lotus flower.
She was Lakshmi. So everybody thought, oh, she must be Lakshmi. She's holding a lotus flower. So they did not bother to stop her. She has come to bless our little child. Okay. But she's described like a what? What is the analogy given? She's like a
Sword in a sheath.
silken sheath. The silken sheath appears very attractive and nice, decorated, but inside is a deadly sword. So, like that. She
And
has.
yeah, the other things that Krishna is thinking, closing his eyes, is who was she in her previous life? Lord was thinking,
Hmm.
and he wanted to invite Shiva because Shiva drinks poison, and he knows that she is giving him poison, so he's inviting Shiva.
He wanted to.
Poisonous milk is like bitter medicine. He doesn't like that. Children don't like bitter medicine.
So he didn't
And,
want to.
and Krishna is saying, my Ugra Drishti will burn her. So let me close my eyes.
What is about Shiva?
Shiva drinks poison. She has come with poison. So Krishna is inviting Shiva, you drink the poison.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, yeah. Thank you for sharing. Okay. So he doesn't like bitter medicine. So bitter. So he's going to feed her. He knows that she's going to feed me poison. So he's closing her eyes. Krishna also likes sweet things. The material world cannot be enjoyed by any living entity. And she was Ratnamala, right? In her previous life, she was the sister of Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj.
So when Vamandev came, she had, two conflicting desires or two separate desires. One is to have Vamandev as a child. She was very cute, and then when he grew up and took away everything, he said, I should kill him. So both the desires are fulfilled in this. They say like that. The material world cannot be enjoyed by any living entity. The material world cannot be enjoyed by any living entity. If one so desires to enjoy it, he immediately becomes a demon like Ravan. So if we enjoy the material world, then we are like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu or Kans. Because Ravana wanted to enjoy the goddess of fortune. So material world, Prabhupada is also saying, is the goddess of fortune. Because material world works under the direction of. So if we want to enjoy the material world, it is equivalent to enjoying the goddess of fortune. So, so then we also become like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu or Kans. Because Ravan wanted to enjoy the goddess of fortune, Sita Devi, he was vanquished with all his family, wealth and opulence. So instead of enjoying, we should say this is meant for this. All these things are meant for Krishna's enjoyment. So let me offer this to Krishna. One can. So that is the whole difference between material consciousness and spiritual consciousness. That is the Atmendra Priti Vancha Tarabalikam Krishnendra Priti Chadhore Premnam. One can, however, enjoy that Maya bestowed upon the living entity by Lord Vishnu. One can, however, enjoy that Maya bestowed upon the living entity by Lord Vishnu. The satisfaction of one's senses and desires means enjoying Maya, not the goddess of fortune. So this is when we are enjoying the material world, we are enjoying Maya, illusory energy of the Lord, not actual consort of the Lord. That's what Prabhupada is clarifying. So Mahamaya and Yoga Maya. So, but Mahamaya, I don't know, is Prabhupada says, yeah, one can, however, enjoy that Maya bestowed upon the living entity. So in illusion, we have to be in illusion to become the enjoyer and feel like this is enjoyable. So you have to come into the bodily conception of life and like that. So it is illusion, right? Because you are not the body, but you have to be in a different consciousness to enjoy. So it, like, puts a curtain over our consciousness. It's like in the movie theater you go, then the lights get switched off, and then you're in dark, and then you enjoy the movie. So first you have to come into darkness, into the illusory energy of the Lord, and then you can think that you will, then you can have the perception of enjoyment. So if you are in knowledge and if you really know that I'm not the body, I'm not, then you will not enjoy. But we are identifying. Of course, this is all gyan wise I'm speaking. But this is also there that when one knows that one is not the body, then enjoyment will give rise to also misery. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yona evate. Then he becomes intelligent. He says, "Oh, no, I will not enjoy. Because this will also give me misery. Why should I?" Those who are intelligent, Krishna says, don't take part in the sources of misery or sources of happiness, which are born of contact of the objects with the senses, sense objects with the senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and the wise do not delight in them. So, but the heart is hankering for enjoyment. So, how to get enjoyment? So then, okay, then you chant Hare Krishna, you engage in devotional service, and try to find enjoyment in that way. We are all endeavoring to find happiness, but the endeavor to find happiness in Krishna consciousness by serving Krishna is the right way to find happiness, and the other wrong way to find happiness is through sense gratification. So that is the whole. Happiness is not denied because that is our birthright. Anandamayo bhyasat. We are by nature very full of bliss, but that happiness, the real happiness, comes when it is searched for about in the right way, not in the wrong way. Wrong way will not give happiness, it will give suffering and keep us in the cycle of birth and death. So we have to experience happiness by doing the right things, right way. And that happiness is the real happiness. Because as Rishabdev says, what that happiness is never ending. What is that line? Never ending and it gives pleasure. What is that?
Brahma Swanantam.
Brahma Sokyam. How does it start? Brahma Sokyam.
Shuded Yasmad Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam.
Shuded Yasmat Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. Yeah, when your consciousness Tapo Divyam Putragena Sattvam Shuded Yasmat Brahma Sokyam Tvanantam. Yeah. So one should engage in austerity and penance. So when we engage in austerity and penance for the purpose of pleasing Krishna, not for otherwise, not for like Hiranyakashipu, not like Hiranyakashipu, for one's own name and fame and like no, austerity should be done for the pleasure of Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhosi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam tapasyasi. So he says tapasya you do for my sake. You offer it to me. So austerity isn't serving Krishna. Now like we have confessed, right? So we are going to be there for so many hours, approaching people. It's an austerity, right? To stand and then approach people. Of course, it is enjoyable if you like it, and talk about Krishna to others and like that. So it's an austerity, and Prabhupada recognized most the austerity of spreading Krishna consciousness. And those who were distributing books, even in his last days, he said, "Yeah, this is very good." It was giving him life. The book distribution course was giving him life. He said, even in this stage when he was emaciated and weak, but he says, "This is my life. This is giving me life." So, so he wanted, because out of compassion, we are just acting as instruments of compassion of Srila Prabhupada in giving his books and his message to others. So he is very pleased because Vaishnava is one who feels sad on seeing the suffering of others. So everybody is suffering. Although people think they are enjoying, but everybody is suffering in the cycle of birth and death. Illusory energy somehow makes us feel that we are enjoying, we are not suffering. That's why sometimes people say, I'm all right, I don't need. But you are in the cycle of birth and death. So, how can there be any enjoyment? So, like that. The satisfaction of one's senses and desire means enjoying Maya, not the goddess of fortune. Okay. So, Avaranatmika Shakti is one of the energies of Maya, which has to cover the living entity's real knowledge and everything about his identity. Then he can enjoy. So, Avaranatmika Shakti means the covering potency. And that's what we say, that the pig is also enjoying living in a filthy place. So, we are also covered by the modes of material nature. When we are covered by the modes of material nature, we find enjoyment in that particular mode we are situated in. So, okay, so the next verse, anything else on this verse? Next verse. Oh, greatly fortunate one. So he is praising, but in his heart he has a desire to enjoy. So, and she may be looking very beautiful and things like that. So she wants, he wants to find out whether she's married, she's not married. Are you, where is your husband? Are you searching after your husband? You are so faithful to him, and all these things he's speaking. So then, O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned, because I see that your feet are touching the ground. So Lakshmi Devi, Saraswati, and Parvati, their feet don't touch the ground. So he's saying, oh, I don't see that you are one of them. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of Vaikuntha planets. Also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. Just as Lakshmi Devi enhances the beauty of Vaikuntha planets. You who are belonging to this planet, you can, this city, you can increase the beauty by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and very powerful king on this planet. So he's talking about his qualifications, who he is, so that this, like an interview, right? We tell about I did this, I did that, and so that person who is interviewing becomes impressed with us and offers us the job. So here he is also telling about his qualification. I am a great hero and very powerful king. He's bragging about himself, and it may be true also, but so that this woman should be attracted to him. There is a difference between demoniac mentality and devotional mentality. Because people are attracted if somebody is famous, if somebody is very strong, like that, somebody is very beautiful, handsome. So he's telling like that, that I'm a great hero. Actually, all that we are looking for is in Krishna. So because Krishna has all the things that we are looking for in a person to the maximum degree, to the fullest. So everybody is looking for Krishna, as George Harrison says in this preface, Krishna book. Everybody is looking for Krishna. So not finding Krishna, then we are settling for something else. Rukmini said, I will not settle for anything less, because I know other than Krishna. And Krishna was present at that time on the planet also. And so she had heard about Krishna, and she said, I will not settle for anything less. There is a difference between demonic mentality and devotional mentality. Devotees know perfectly well that the goddess of fortune, who is a constant companion of Vishnu or Narayan, cannot be enjoyed by a living entity. This higher sense of understanding is called Krishna consciousness. So every jiva is Prakriti, and you can say belongs to Krishna. Every jiva is meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. So, and if that is the consciousness, Bhoktaram Yagna Tapasam, then there can be peace in this world. Nonetheless, everyone wants to become happy by imitating the prosperity of Narayan. In this verse, Puranjana states that the girl appears to be an ordinary woman. Puranjana states that the girl appears to be an ordinary woman. Okay. However, since he is attracted by her, he requests that she become as happy as the goddess of fortune by associating with him. So he's saying that, oh, if you associate with me, you'll become very happy. It'll be very nice. Thus, he introduces himself as a great king with great influence, so that she might accept him as her husband and be as happy as the goddess of fortune. To desire to enjoy this material world as subordinate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is godly. So, to enjoy this world as a servant of the Supreme Lord, which is demigods. Demigods, they have desires to enjoy, but they consider themselves as servants. So, that is godly. It is not pure devotion, but it is still godly. The demons, however, want to enjoy this material world without considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference between a demon and a demigod. So, if you want to enjoy, at least accept that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Krishna has given me some facilities to enjoy, so I am enjoying like that. So, remain subordinate like the demigods. But still, that is not pure devotion, right? Because they have their own personal desires to enjoy, not fully giving enjoyment to Krishna, but they accept the authority of Krishna. The word bhuvisprik mentioned in this verse is very significant. And that is what most religion is like that. It is like, okay, we accept God is there, but then God should give me enjoyment or fulfill all my desires and everything so that I can have a nice life. That's why people go to the temple. They do Vahan Puja and all these things. So many things they do, all the rituals they do, so that all obstacles to their material enjoyment is removed. So the word bhuvisprik mentioned in this verse is very significant. When the demigods sometimes come to this planet, they do not touch the ground. Puranjana could understand that this girl did not belong to the transcendental world or higher planetary system because her feet were touching the ground. Okay, so higher planetary system, their feet don't touch to the ground. But this girl's feet were touching to the ground. Since every woman in this world wants her husband to be very influential, rich and powerful, Puranjana, to seduce the girl, introduced himself as such a personality. So what she was looking for is, Puranjana knows what she is looking for. And so Puranjana is presenting himself as what she wants. So Prabhupada says everybody wants this kind of things. Everyone wants a partner who is very influential, who is very powerful, who is very beautiful. So he is presenting himself like that. A man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. Every living entity who possesses such material desires is called Purusha, an enjoyer. So everybody here is Purusha. Even the Stree is Purusha, because everybody is an enjoyer. Superficially, it appears that the woman is the enjoyed and man is the enjoyer, but internally, everyone is the enjoyer. Consequently, everything in this material world is called Maya. Okay, so that is what this verse is saying. Okay, so any comments on this verse? Okay, so next verse. So Narad Muni is telling this allegorical story because Prachini Parishat has all desires to enjoy and is doing karma kanda and all these things. Suddenly your glancing upon me today has very much agitated my mind. Your smile, which is full of shyness but at the same time lusty, is agitating the most powerful Cupid within me. Therefore, O most beautiful, I ask you to be merciful upon me. Okay, so that he is feeling agitated in just by looking at her and her shyness and her smile and everything. Everyone has lusty desires within, and as soon as one is agitated by the movement of a beautiful woman's eyebrows, the Cupid within immediately throws his arrow at the heart. Thus, one is quickly conquered by the eyebrows of a beautiful woman. When one is agitated by lusty desires, his senses are attracted by all kinds of vishaya, enjoyable things like sound, touch, form, smell, and taste. These attractive sense objects oblige one to come under the control of a woman. In this way, the conditional life of a living entity begins, or vice versa, also you can say. Conditional life means being under the control of a woman, And certainly the living entity is always at the mercy of a woman or a man. Thus, living entities live in bondage to one another, and they continue this conditional material life illusioned by Maya. So instead of coming under Krishna's control, we come under the control of our कामादीनां कटिना कटिधा पालिता दुर्निदेशा तेषां जातमयी न करुणा न तपा न पश्यन्ति उत्सृज्येता नथा यदुपते साम्प्रतां लब्धबुद्धिस्त्वमयाता शरणम् abhayam mam nyukshvatmadasye. So I am under the control of my lust, my anger, my greed. So lust not fulfilled will give rise to anger or give rise to greed. We know all these things. So I am thinking I am independent, but I am a slave of my desires, material desires, and they are dictating to me. And I'm so if we don't become servant of Krishna, then we have to become servant of Maya. That's what this verse is saying. Okay, then. So Bhagavatam is laying it everything bare, right? Our problem in the material existence, and so that we are aware of what are the problems in this material existence, why we continue our material life, why we go from one body to the next. Previously also Prabhupada says every conditioned soul wants to enjoy in this material world, and that's why our conditional life continues. So only way is to get out of this is to take tight shelter of Krishna's lotus feet and Srila Prabhupada, like that we take shelter of the great souls. And what is that? Mahat Seva Vina Kono Karma. Mahat Seva Vina.
महत
Mahat
कृपा
Kripa.
बिना कर में भक्ति नहीं, कृष्ण भक्ति दूर रहो संसार नहीं शोए.
Krishna Bhakti Dure Rahe, Sansar Nahi Shoy. Mahat Kripa Vina Kono Karma Nahi. So we have to get the blessings of the great souls who are very elevated in Krishna consciousness, and serve them, and by their blessings, and then this will become. So that is the way. Okay, so all verses are like this about this attraction. Now so many verses. My dear girl, your face is so beautiful with your nice eyebrows and eyes, and with your bluish hair scattered about. In addition, very sweet sounds are coming from your mouth. You speak so sweetly, you sing so sweetly, you have such nice eyebrows. And nonetheless, you are so covered with shyness that you do not see me face to face. So she is not seeing him directly because she is shy. I therefore request you, my dear girl, to smile and kindly raise your head to see me. So just look at me. Such a speech is typical of a living entity attracted by the opposite sex. This is called bewilderment, occasioned by becoming conditioned by material nature. When thus attracted by the beauty of material energy, one becomes very eager to enjoy. This is elaborately described in this instance of Puranjana's becoming attracted by the beautiful woman. In conditional life, the living entity is attracted by a face, eyebrows, or eyes, a voice, or anything, like ankle bells, Vishwam. In short, everything becomes attractive. When a man or woman is attracted by the opposite sex, it does not matter whether the opposite sex is beautiful or not. The lover sees everything beautiful in the face of the beloved and thus becomes attracted. So it's kind of like an infatuation that happens, and everything appears very attractive about that person. Like that is a perverted reflex. Like in Golok Vrindavan, everything about Krishna is attractive. He is slanting his body. Oh, that's very attractive. He is yawning. That is very attractive. Everything about, because they are in love with Krishna. So only thing here, the object is different, but about Krishna, whatever Krishna does, little bit, right? Then everybody becomes attracted by that. Like as gopis are saying, we are attracted by our sweet speech. What is the verse we just said?
मधुरया गिरा वल्गुवाख्यया पदमनोज्ञया पुष्करेक्षण विधिकरीरिमा वीरमुयतीरतरसिद्धुनाभ्यायस्मिन्. Your sweet smile and your charming words are attracting the minds of those who are intelligent. They are bewildering us more and more.
Yeah, so they are attracted by Krishna. That's the only difference. So Krishna's beauty is manifesting in this world, right? Everybody has some spark of Krishna's beauty. So we are attracted ultimately to Krishna because that beauty is coming from Krishna. That beauty or whatever ability or talent, whatever we are attracted to, that is coming from Krishna. So as as Prabhupada said about who that air host air hostess, right? What did he say? If
Yeah, this disciple was attracted to that and was looking at the air hostess. So Prabhupada says, like the spark is so beautiful, think about the creator. How beautiful he must be.
yeah, the only thing is that we have not seen Krishna face to face. Like, of course, we see Krishna in the deity form. Huh?
Mhm. Yeah, we see the deities. Mayapur Krishna is so beautiful.
Correct. Hari Parshad Prabhu was saying something that it's not the same or something like that. But anyway, so the deity is beautiful.
It's much. He's much more beautiful. I mean, yeah, of course, the somebody who's created the picture or sculpted the. We have limitations, but Krishna is much much more beautiful than depicted.
Correct. And to appreciate the beauty and this thing of Krishna, also the heart has to be non-envious. Like Duryodhana, we say, yeah, he was seeing Krishna, but he could not appreciate him. Like so, there also has to be a non-envious heart to appreciate Krishna. But yeah, like Putana also, when she saw Krishna, she was thinking, "Oh, this child is so effulgent. He can destroy the entire world. He's so powerful." But she could not because of her envy in the heart. She could not surrender to Krishna like that because she had a strong desire. Similarly, Duryodhana was envious of the devotees, right? The Pandavas. So when we are envious of devotees like that, and Krishna will not, his attractiveness, the Krishna's attractiveness will not appear so much attractive because of envy in heart of other devotees.
Yeah, so if we are attracted to Krishna's beauty, I mean, it is purifying and will lead us to a place where we can eternally be in bliss. If we are attracted to beauty of this world, Maya, we'll get one misery after another. We'll see the hellish, because it's deceiving the beauty of this world. It's like the skin covering the blood, mucus, and all stool. And yeah, yesterday we were reading this Pingala's story. That's what she's saying. It's like my body is like a bunch of bones, like a house. Yeah.
Beauty
Which,
is skin deep. They say beauty is skin deep, right? So if you remove the layer of the skin, then it's like all the beauty is lost. Right? If somebody becomes like there's beauty, but you have that disease. What is called that disease called when you develop white spots on your
leprosy.
body? Leprosy. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah. So then once you have that kind of even the same person, but yeah, Komal was saying something.
It's vitiligo, Prabhu.
Huh?
Vitiligo.
Vitiligo. Yeah. So the same person, like doesn't appear very attractive, but it's just the same skin, just some discoloration here and there, and like whatever. So this is how real love means on the spiritual platform. So Prabhupada had that real love because he was seeing everybody as spirit soul, not in terms of, you know, first of all, he has no desire to enjoy, and that's why that's the main thing. He has no desire to, but he loves everybody because they are part and parcel of Krishna, and Krishna loves them. And so he loves them as part and parcel of Krishna. They are also spiritual sparks of Krishna. And by karma, they have gotten situation, different situations. That's all. So one is not enamored by that. Yeah. If on a pure devotional platform. You want to read that, whatever it is.
And this is from the Pinglas. She's saying that this material body is like a house in which I, the soul, am living. The bones forming my spine, ribs, arms, and legs are like the beams, cross beams, and pillars of the house. And the whole structure, which is full of stool and urine, is covered by skin, hairs, and nails. The 9 doors leading into this body are constantly excreting foul substances. Besides me, what woman could be so foolish as to devote herself to this material body, thinking that she might find pleasure and love in this contraption? It's filled with all foul substances, but just covered by the skin to make it look beautiful, but is a bag of all stool and urine and mucus, bile.
Yeah, if you dissect the body, those who have dissected the body, they know the intestine is like a long rope, right? If you pull out the intestine, how long is the intestine? I don't know. But there's small intestine and long intestine. It is so many, like it is coiled up. So it's like a rope. And all these things, all these organs inside are like bones and some muscle is there, some fluid is there. This is what is there inside. But it has been zipped up by the bag of skin. So so you don't see all those inside what it is. And that's what that article, Truth and Beauty, Prabhupada was saying there. So, Truth and Beauty, that article was there, right? So, you want to say, somebody like to say what was that about that lady, what she did, and this man was who was attracted. What?
Yeah, this man was
Liquid Beauty.
attracted.
Huh?
Is that the one that with the Liquid Beauty? I think that was title.
Correct, correct. Yeah.
I heard it somewhere else as well recently in a class. But
You can
Mataji,
say it.
yeah.
You want to say that others may know. If
No,
anybody knows,
yeah.
huh? Somebody want to say?
I thought Jinesh Prabhu wanted to say.
Now I was just trying to confirm with Prabhuji the story of Liquid Beauty, right?
Yeah, so if you heard that, can you repeat it?
Um, it will take time, Mataji. So if you can, would be.
I don't know too many details. It's very short. This man was attracted to this girl and wanted to see her, but see, this girl wanted to teach him a lesson. So she says, "Okay, you come back after a week or so on this day." And the man returned, and he had this girl was there, but this man said, "Where is that girl I was supposed to meet?" Because now this girl looked totally different. She had lost her weight and she was looking very weak and kind of ugly. So she says, "Let me show you the girl that you're looking for." And she took out a bucket in which she put her stool and urine and vomit and all. So she was doing that for past few days. That she was putting her stool and vomit in that bucket. So she says that this is the girl that you're looking for.
She had taken some laxatives, right? Laxatives and purgatives, which would like drain her body of all the things. So yeah. So inside, like when we are in our youth, then every person looks good. But as the body ages, then that same person, the body, the garment starts, developing wrinkles and things like that. So you have anti-wrinkle cream and so many things. So like on the neck also, you start developing those, like your skin starts sagging and like that. So as the garment becomes old, when it is new, it's very like shiny and like that. But then as days pass by and you keep washing it, then it may lose its shininess and becomes little dull. So like that, our body also becomes like that. Like some of the very very beautiful actresses and celebrities, you see them in their youth, and then you put right next to it a picture of their old age, and then you can see, yeah, it's not so attractive now. So so the lover sees everything. So if one becomes attracted by the beauty of Krishna and Krishna consciousness, then one can overcome this attraction. When a man or woman is attracted by the opposite sex, it does not matter whether the opposite sex. So even in marriage, marriage is not meant for infatuation. Marriage is just meant for procreation. Prabhupada says marriage is not meant for sense gratification. Marriage is just meant for procreation of children, so that you can bring their children into this world, and so that you can make them Krishna consciousness, and in this way do a service to the to the Lord by raising a child in Krishna consciousness. The lover sees everything beautiful in the face. Yeah.
So, what will sustain the marriage is the beautiful qualities of that person, because the beauty will fade away, the qualities will remain, and that would sustain. So, if you're just looking at beauty for marriage, right, that it's bound to fail.
Correct.
But everybody really is attracted by people's beautiful qualities, how kind and compassionate they are, how nicely they speak with others. So we should become beautiful within. Like Prabhupada, when he was giving initiation to Rukmini Mataji, we heard that from Amoghila Prabhu, right? And Prabhupada
No,
said, "Oh, you're so
Radha
beautiful, but
Radha
now
Gopinath,
you become beautiful within."
Radha Gopinath Prabhu was saying like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, he came here when he said, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Cockroach, for the male cockroach, the female cockroach looks beautiful.
Hmm.
Opposite gender.
Okay. So, when a man or woman is attracted by the opposite sex, it does not matter whether the opposite sex is beautiful or not. Prabhupada is saying like that. The lover sees everything beautiful in the face of the beloved, and thus becomes attracted. So, one when is infatuated, it's called infatuation. This attraction causes the living entity to fall down in this material world. This is described in Bhagavad Gita 7:27. So, because everybody has that attraction in the material world who is conditioned soul, so there is the marriage, and then you use that attraction to for the purpose of procreation, and that's why how you get a child, and then move on. Then you at some point there is no bodily relationship, nothing like that. So, ichha dvesha samuthena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarge yanti parantapa. O scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, for all living entities are born into delusion, overcome by the dualities of desire and hate. This is the verse we say, our envy brought us to this material world, envy of Krishna. This condition of life is called avidya. Opposed to this avidya is real knowledge. Sri Shopnishad distinguishes between vidya and avidya, knowledge and ignorance. By avidya one becomes conditioned, and by vidya one becomes liberated. Puranjana admits herein that he is attracted by avidya. Now he wishes to see the complete feature of avidya. So he knows he is attracted by avidya. He is attracted to the bodily, beauty. So he is admitting that. He's admitting. Okay. And so requests the girl to raise her head so that he can see her face to face. He thus wishes to see the various features that make avidya attractive. So Maya has many tricks up her sleeve, and she knows everybody's weakness. And that is where, like we say, a strong chain is as good as its weakest link. So this is the weakness she will try to exploit in everybody, in the conditioned soul, and thus keep them bound. Because her duty is to filter. Her duty is to filter the candidates who approach Krishna. So she wants to see those who are really interested in Krishna or those who are just interested in like sense gratification. So she puts obstacles on the path, and then of course, ultimately she wants us to learn, and so that she pierces with her trident. So ultimately we actually run towards Krishna. So Maya is our friend in that sense. So because she is the agent of the Lord, she wants us to go towards Krishna. So that's why she creates this material. She creates under the direction of Krishna. Shishti Sthiti Pralaya, and gives trouble to the living entity, so that they start searching after their real nature. And she sometimes they say those who are trying to escape in the prison are given what? Those who are trying to escape in the prison are given special attention,
Mm.
right? If there are prisoners in a jail and all the one prisoner is trying to escape, then they are very, very careful that he does not escape. They observe him. Others who are not trying to escape, they are in there. Like, so there was a quotation, right? I think Radhanath Maharaj said, right? Maya has created a world without bars. There is no bars, but nobody wants to escape. Something like that. So the illusion is binding us in the cycle. The bars are what? Birth, death, old age, and disease. These are the bars. You can't get out of this. Birth, death, old age. And these are invisible bars. But if you don't realize it, then they are invisible bars. If you realize, that's why Krishna says, realize the bars that you are in. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. Darshanam means to see. See that you are in the prison and these are the bars that are binding you. You are in the prison house. But when we are in the influence of Maya, then these bars are not visible because we are in our own mood of enjoyment. So we can't see those bars. So that is and everybody is going to die, no matter how rich you are, how beautiful you are. And so ultimately old age will come, disease will come. So one has to take this very seriously, that yes, I am in this repeated cycle of birth and death. Now you may say it is materially motivated to go back to Krishna, but Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma mrityu chara vyadi dukkha doshanu darshanam. You realize the problems in this material existence. And Prabhupada's many purports are filled with that thing. So, in one sense, yeah, it is a desire to escape suffering. It is materially motivated. Yes, it is materially motivated but Krishna wants us to go back to Him also. In many verses in the Bhagavad Gita, He says, Yat katvana a brahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna mamupitya tu kantya punarjanmana vidyate. He is highlighting the contrast between the material world and the spiritual world. So that at least in the beginning, we have an impetus to practice spiritual life. Because if nothing is wrong, if there is no distress, then why would I come to Krishna consciousness? So that is another aspect of this. If you're not in distress, generally people come in distress. So if there is no distress, you don't realize the distress, then why would you come to Krishna consciousness? Everything is nice, you are very complacent and comfortable in your material situation, which will not remain as is like that forever. But you become so complacent in that situation. So Maya gives trouble. Okay. Enough said, so we'll go to the next verse. Narada continued, and we'll stop with this verse. My dear king, when Puranjana became so attracted and impatient to touch the girl and enjoy her, the girl also became attracted by his words and accepted his request by smiling. So he wanted and she also wanted. So she also accepted his request. By this time, she was certainly attracted by the king. By this incident, we can understand that when a man is aggressive and begins to woo a woman becomes attracted to the man. This process is described in the Bhagavatam 558. Pumsa striya mithuni bhavametam tayor mitho hridaya granthi mahu ato griha kshetra suta apta vitte janasya mohayam aham mameti. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the hearts of male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, when one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. You are mine, I am yours, nobody is nobody's. But this is my family, this is my children, this is my house, this is my. Janasya mohayam aham mameti. So in this way, one becomes enamored. And actually, we have to say Krishna is mine, or I am Krishna's. Either way, because that is the permanent relationship. Other than that, every relationship with the house or with any living entity is ephemeral. It's transient. It's temporary. It's not going to last beyond a few years. few decades at the most. So nobody is really going to be there with us permanently. Only Krishna is there. As we know that Paramatma in the heart is going to accompany us. And we don't realize that because our senses are drawn outwards. That's why this Ashtanga Yoga is to bring the senses inwards and to realize that Lord who is in the heart. Samadhi means they see the Lord in the heart. Because now the senses are moving outwards, they bring the senses pratyahar. Atyahar means to go towards the outwards, towards the sense objects. But pratyahar means to withdraw the senses inwards and then see the Lord in the heart. So that is the ultimate actually purpose of yoga. In this way, a living entity, original Krishna consciousness becomes converted into material consciousness. This attraction is enacted on the platform of sexual life. Thus, the sex impulse is the platform of material engagement. This conditional life, the platform of material sense enjoyment, is the cause of forgetfulness of spiritual life. In this way, a living entity is. So at some point, you give up this conception of I and mine, and you become like Vanaprastha and then renounce. In this way, a living entity's original Krishna consciousness becomes covered or converted into material consciousness. Thus, one engages in the business of sense gratification. Avritam jnanam itina jnanino nityaverina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena analinacha. Okay, so we will stop here. We'll read that book about Krishna's pastimes. So going from all this philosophy of sense gratification and how it is detrimental, now we will see about Krishna's pastimes in the spiritual world. So one minute, Kindle is opening.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So Prabhuji, can I ask one question about moksha? So the four pillars of Purushartha that we have, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. And we also know Bhakti Yoga, that is devotional service. So I was just trying to get understanding of Moksha and Bhakti Yoga. And based on my reading, what I'm learning is Bhakti Yoga is even beyond Moksha. And that is where I'm just trying to get more clarity. That is what moksha means for karmi person as compared to devotee, and where bhakti yoga. I think bhakti yoga is clear because devotional service is objective is really to always be in continuous uninterrupted service of Krishna. Now, the context of moksha, how to understand this. As also we talk about bhakti yoga, whether bhakti yoga and how the moksha are they related, where they stand. So, if any thoughts, probably
you can. Somebody answer this question. Maybe Radhika want to answer this question.
Okay.
Sorry, I was not hearing properly. Moksha in regards to non-devotees?
No, Mataji, first we'll just talk about what is in dharma, the four purushartha, and then in that four purushartha we say dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So what moksha means, and then whether for devotee or non-devotee, is there any difference when they try to achieve moksha? And then another topic is bhakti yoga, where the bhakti yoga, that anyway, is it connected to moksha at all?
Yeah, so for Bhakti Yoga, the definition of moksha is Muktir Hitva Anyatha Rupam Swarupena Vivasthiti, means we go back to our constitutional position. Even while living in this material world, we can be called a mukta. Ya hasya haridarse karmana manasa gira. If we are using our body, mind, and words in service of Krishna, then we are the stage of liberated stage, even living in this world, because we are back again to our constitutional position of Jivara Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. So that's the definition for the devotee. Is they use all their senses, then body, mind, and words always in serving Krishna. And for the non-devotees, I mean, the Mayavadis, impersonalists, they want to merge into God. So according to them, liberation is they become God by merging into it. So they go to the Brahma Jyoti in the effulgence, but it's a temporary situation. Nobody can become God or merging in the Brahma Jyoti is a temporary position because they don't feel joy in that. So there is no service, there is no relationship. So that's why they'll fall down from there and again come back to the material world. Unless they meet some devotees and they get some association of devotees, and they can rise to the level of bhakta or devotee. So actual liberation means going back home, back to God. It's only possible if you are a bhakti, because priti na yavat mai vasudeva. You have to have love for Krishna to be in the spiritual world. That is the definition. If you have to go out of this material world, you need to develop your love for Krishna. Mm. Does it cover everything?
Yeah. So yeah, thank you, Mataji. This is helpful because that's what I at least I. Uh, so bhakti yoga, that is devotional service, pure devotional service, is uh, is a way. Uh, so it's so how to achieve moksha. I mean, for devotee, it is devotional service. Uh, I think the way you explain. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, like I heard an analogy from Bhakti Charu Maharaj. He was saying that if you are in a prison
Hmm.
and you want to escape, there are two ways. I mean, if you want to get out of the prison, you can dig a tunnel, right, and try to, like, get out. But if you dig a tunnel and try to escape, then the police will catch you and they'll bring you back into the prison. So Mayavadis getting out of the prison, they also want to get out of the cycle of birth and death, is like digging a tunnel. But they may get out for some time, but then they are caught and they are brought back to the prison. Similarly, that verse is there. Yanya Arvindaksha Vimukta Maninas Tvayashta Bhavada Vishuddha Buddhaya. Aruya Krishena Param Padam Tataha Patantiyado Anarita Yusmadangrahaya. Even if they go to the highest platform, that is Brahmajyoti for them, they fall down from there. So it's like they go out, then they are brought back into the prison. So they come back into the material existence. Unless we say if they meet a devotee, yeah, that's different. But generally they come back, they fall down from that height because they have neglected. The other way to get out of the prison is to become a good prisoner, and then you get in a parole, because you are behaving very nice. And so that is like devotional service. So devotional service means again you become a servant of Krishna, and you change your consciousness like that. Then they will let you out, and there is no, like, you are not brought back into the prison because you are free. You have gone out the legal way. But if you go out any other way, then you come back into the prison. So
Okay. And Prabhuji, other than Mayavadis and pure Krishna devotee, uh, the the other sadhakas who, let's say, aspiring for higher planets. So whether that could be Swargaloka, Brahmaloka, Jannaloka, or any of those higher planets. So for them, when we use the word moksha, so for them, what moksha means, that is just to get rid of the repeated cycle of birth and death on this bhuloka. That's their conception.
but again, then they have to come back, right? Shine punya martya lokam vishanti. Even if they go to the Swarga loka, when their punya runs out, they come back to the earth. So I don't know what they say. I mean, you have to ask everybody what their conception about moksha is. So
Okay.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but we know that's not moksha because it's not full liberation from the side.
Mm,
You're still in the
mm,
in a better jail in the prison. You got a
uh,
better jail
yeah,
now.
right.
But you're still in the prison. So
No, thank you, Pravi. This is helpful. No, the reason is usually we get these questions
yeah,
with people with a different thought process. Some are just say Swargaloka is the ultimate destination, but they don't understand, like as you explained. So that's why I was just trying to clarify what the moksha means for different sets of mindsets.
yeah.
Uh,
Sometimes in Christianity, they say like that, right? You go to the heaven for which for them it is like yeah,
mm,
ultimate.
mm,
They think heaven and we call spiritual world. They call it heaven or whatever. So I don't know much.
mm.
Yeah. But when we say heaven, we say Swargalok, which is part of the material world only.
Material world, right?
But many times they write, "Uska swargavas ho gaya." Such and
Mm,
such person died, and uska swargavas ho gaya. Means he went to the heaven, swarga.
mm.
So, but swargavas is not desirable ultimately because yeah, it's a better situation because you have better standard of happiness there. But that is also not. So people write like that, swargavas.
Huh. And that is also interesting because how even do we even know whether that's really a Swargavas? We just say for the saying because people say
Ah.
something. But I don't think human has that ability to comment on destination for whatever whoever the person is, right? Because
But
that's
but because everybody wishes well for the
yeah,
person who has
yeah,
departed, so they say. But actually, where the person has gone, only Krishna knows.
only Krishna
So
knows, right, right.
yeah,
That's
correct. So but
yeah. Yeah.
those who are kind and hearted, and those who have love for their family members, they wish that yeah they went to a better situation. So yeah,
So Prabhuji, this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Other question also I received that these four purushartha, at least at that level, it doesn't say anything about punarjanma or English we say reincarnation. But we know that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explained at many places, like in different ways, like it is going to be punarjanma again. But I don't know which Veda these Purusharthas are mentioned first time, like, but that's what they say. But Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, there is no indication of Punarjanma. That some people say, but they may not have read Bhagavad Gita. That's another thing. But that's where they think if it is just a Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha means just a one way, meaning once moksha is done, there is no Punarjanma. So that's come the belief on the Punarjanma concept. Uh, but
yeah.
then, yeah,
Ultimately, like you do dharma, like in conditioned state, you do dharma because you want artha, you want economic development, you want prosperity, so you
correct.
follow dharma. Then why you want economic development because you want to enjoy sense gratification. So
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the other thing is karma. But sense gratification does not satisfy.
yeah,
That's why then you come to the higher platform. Like we say karma yoga, then you come to jnana yoga.
yeah.
Karma yoga means or karmis are like more like just enjoying. And then then
Mm,
one comes to the level of jnani. Jnani means he thinks why am I working so hard, and
mm,
he doesn't feel happiness in this
mm,
kind of
yeah.
so he is on now on a little higher platform. He's
Mm,
thinking that what is beyond this life and who am I and all that.
mm,
So then that's how they now they want to get out of this cycle of birth and death. So moksha they want, but you have to know the right means to get out. That's the only thing. That's only bhakti yoga you can get out, as the verse was quoted, right? That unless you have affection, na pritir mai vasudeve. What do you, na muchyata deha yogena tavat. What is the first line? Na bhak pritir mai vasudeva.
Preeti.
Yavat.
प्रीतिर्न यावत् मयि वासुदेव न मोच्यते देह योगिना तावत्
Pritir na mai. Pritir na
प्रीतिर्न यावन् मयि वासुदेव.
pritir na yavat mai vasudeva. Okay, so like that.
okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu.
And if you have bhakti, mukti is automatically achieved. Bhakti sthira starat bhagwan yadisha devena phala divya kishora murti. Mukti swayam mukulitanjali sevate asman dharmartha kama gataya samaya pratiksha. Bilva Mangal Thakur says that with bhakti, automatically mukti is standing at with folded hands. So without bhakti, there is no mukti. So real mukti, a temporary mukti can be there in the impersonal Brahman, but ultimately without bhakti, you cannot. There is no real mukti. It's permanent mukti.
Yeah, 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 Prabhu.
Okay, so let's see where we are here. Oh, gopis are getting married. So Yoga Maya. So Gopi's desires was fulfilled. So we can read from here.
As water pouring through open floodgates during a monsoon, deluge sweeps away aquatics and inevitably irrigates pastures. Krishna's marriage swept all anxiety ushered in festivals of bliss, such as the marriages of Balram, Sridham, and Krishna's other sakhas, and nourished the hearts of all the Vrajvasis. Vrindavan bustled with preparations for Krishna's marriage, and talk of the ceremonies reverberated throughout the towns and glades. The birds in the trees, animals in the forest, cows in the pastures, the Vrajvasis in every village and local Brahmanas in every temple and ashram, all floated in the current of Radha and Krishna's wedding pastime. It was like a great symphony in which everyone and everything, directed by the conductor Yogamaya, played the instruments of their loving devotional service. Under her guidance, Vrindavan resounded with a concert of bliss as the sounds of the Rajvasis eagerly making preparations mixed with the sounds of the constant singing of Krishna's pastimes and with the lapping of love's ocean upon everyone's heart. That very melodious symphony brought pleasure to the universe wherein demigods danced in ecstasy, nature poured forth its bounty, and the hearts of the men revelled in peace. The first 2 days comprised the Adivas ceremony, the preliminary festivities. The homes of the gopis, and especially Nanda Maharaj's home, echoed with the din of celebrations, reflections of the bliss within the hearts of the residents. At this time Balram was married, and as Mother Rohini cried streams of happiness, Krishna and his sakhas rejoiced, and Gokul thundered with cries of Jai Balram, Jai Jai. Dressed in blue silks, decorated with countless ornaments, garlanded and crowned, moon-complexioned Balram defeated the beauty of numberless cupids. At the conclusion of Balram's wedding, when Krishna embraced his elder brother, some people said, Balram is even more beautiful than Krishna. Others replied, Ram's beauty is magnified by Krishna's presence. After some discussion, everyone agreed that both brothers were incomparable even to one another. So Balram is also getting married mm, by the by his gopis, with his gopis.
Yeah. Okay, so next page.
Balram stood among his gopi brides, like the moon basking in its own rays. By seeing the newlyweds, everyone became happy, and that night every Vrajvasi dreamt of Baldev's glory. On the third day, Radha and Krishna were bathed and dressed as befitting the first meeting of the bride and the groom. The everyday ornamenting of Radha by her Sakhis and Manjaris and of Krishna by his friends and servants was always extraordinary. How then can one describe their appearance for the unique occasion of their wedding? If all the beauty, sweetness, and attraction of the world were assembled in one place, it would not match the tiniest fraction of Radha's beauty as she waited for Hari in Barsana, or of Shyamas as he set out from Gokul to claim her. Krishna moved at the head of his wedding procession like the crown jewel atop the head of a giant serpent. At this At his side walked Gopas and Gopis dressed in their finest. Behind him, cows decorated with garlands and costly blankets, and in front, boys and girls sprinkling rose water and flower petals. The parents of the other brides brought their daughters to Barsana, and there, at the foot of the hill, they met Krishna's wedding pageant. The meeting of the two processions was like the joyful clashing of waves upon the ocean. The village ladies sang lively songs to which Madhu Mangal, at the fore of wildly dancing cowherd boys, responded with great humor. Even Anantadev could not describe the uncountable facets of the wedding ceremony among which the songs of the gopis stood above all others. And as Purnamashi had promised, when the many beautifully dressed and veiled gopis, headed by Srimati Radharani, stood in the great hall of King Rishabhanu, everyone saw Krishna standing beside each gopi. The king of Raj marvelled at Purnamashi's powers, but not once thought that his son was more than a mere mortal. On that day, celestial bliss reigned in the palace of Rishbhanu. When Krishna and the gopis finally exchanged vows, the tears of the Rajvasis washed the floors and ran down the hill in rivulets of nectar. Radha and Krishna's mutual acceptance as husband and wife was as much an ontological truth as a matter of the heart. She was the primordial potency, he is the supreme potent being. In short, they were as inseparable in their eternal identities as they were in their mutual love. So, this wedding ceremony is taking place in Barsana, which is Radharani's place. And the other gopis are coming from their own villages. Their fathers are bringing them in a procession. And Krishna also coming in a big procession with gopas and gopis in the front, putting flower garlands and sandalwood and sprinkling rose water. Behind there are cows and other gopas and gopis, and they're both dressed very beautifully. And when they approach each other, that two ceremonies, um, it's like merging of the ocean or what? It's a clashing of the waves upon the ocean. And now Krishna, he duplicated himself for each of the gopis. So he's standing beside each of the gopi. And Nanda Maharaj is marveling at Purnamashi's power, still not realizing that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So yeah, Radha and Krishna are getting married.
Krishna duplicated himself, is it?
It says right here, everyone saw Krishna standing beside each gopi. The second paragraph on the second column. Fourth line.
Think of it, but not once on this.
Yeah,
Second
above
paragraph.
that. Second paragraph, yeah. Fourth line.
Village ladies, second
No,
paragraph. This is the second paragraph, right?
fourth line of that, yes.
So everyone saw Krishna, okay. Yeah. So all the gopis were getting married to Krishna, right? That's basically. Is it what is happening? All the gopis are getting married to Krishna.
Yeah, gopis head by Radharani and Krishna is standing beside each of the gopis. Everybody's seeing that. Nanda Maharaj saw that and he marveled at the Purnamashi's power.
Okay, so the next, anybody else like to read the wedding celebrations? We'll read one page and then we have to stop. Have to prepare for going to conference. Do some chanting also. Okay, the wedding celebrations continued throughout the night with feasting, singing, and entertainment. So absorbed in bliss were the guests that only when Nanda Maharaj invited the brides and grooms to return to his house did anyone notice that dawn had arrived. There was so much festivity. And they said, oh, now it's morning time. As Radha and Krishna were preparing to leave, King Rishabhanu and Mother Kirtida instructed Krishna how to protect and care for their daughter. So Krishna must be very young, right? He's still in Vrindavan, below 10 years of age, and they're getting married.
No, this is when he has
Oh, no,
returned.
sorry.
He
Yeah,
is married in Dwarka.
correct, correct.
He is returned. But this is all, I don't know what kind of Leela, because in spiritual world this does not happen. A marriage does not take place in the spiritual. It's still Parakya Ras. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. So this is not what is going on in the spiritual world. So I don't know. It happened in the material world.
Hmm. Okay, so yeah, correct. This actually Krishna has gone and he has come back, right? Yeah, forgot that. As Radha and Krishna were preparing to leave, King Rishabhanu and Mother Kirtida instructed Krishna how to protect and care for their daughter. So they're saying, "Oh, you please take care of my girl like this, that." She's very concerned. Their voices faltering, their eyes constantly shedding tears. The king and queen of Varshana placed Radhika's hand in Krishna's and bade them an emotional farewell. Once again, the merry and often boisterous wedding party set out for Gokul. So they are going to Gokul where Krishna is. If the previous day's procession was joyous, then today's was 100 times more joyous, as it returned with its precious bounty Radha and the other Gopi brides. As was customary on such occasions, when Krishna arrived at Nandamara's home, his mother had prepared a great festival in which the village women flooded everyone with a potpourri of charming songs of Krishna's pastimes. So they were singing, they were waiting to greet him as they were coming. Yashoda Devi lovingly greeted her son, and as Krishna introduced his brides, his mother embraced each one of them. But when she saw Radha, her happiness overflowed, and she displayed affection with an intensity matched only by that of her affection for Krishna. So she was happy with all the brides, but when she saw Radha, her love was as if for Krishna. The love, as much love she had for Krishna, that much love she had for Radha. Indeed, the villagers commented, it seems Yashoda loves Radha as much as her son, or maybe even more. Krishna's mother was determined that the celebrations at her house would be no less than those of Kirtidas at Varshana. So, whatever happened in Barsana should happen in Gokul. She expertly organized all of Nandagram to receive, serve, and entertain Krishna and his brides. In fact, it seemed that Yashoda was beside every bride simultaneously, as was Krishna during his wedding vows. Indeed, Yashoda seemed to be simultaneously overseeing every service in every room of the palace. Her guests marveled at the expertise she displayed despite the never ending tears of happiness that flooded her eyes. She was so happy. First, Krishna came back, and now Krishna is also getting married. Following the tradition of for receiving a daughter in law, every Gopi bride was assigned separate quarters, and each retired to hers with a joyous heart. The not so secret dream of Radha, shared by Gopi leaders like Dhanya, their Gopi friends, and the parents of both the Gopis and Krishna, had become reality. Krishna's brides were tired from the day's excitement, but before falling to sleep, they talked amongst themselves. Is this not just another of our many dreams about Krishna? So the Gopis are talking. This is like a dream come true. Will we not wake up to be alone in a kunja or in will we not wake up to be alone in a kunja or in our homes? Because previously they were like that. So they were thinking, we are sleeping now, but when we wake up, will we be alone? Will our bliss not prove to be the cause of many tears? The gopis reassured one another by convincing arguments, by feeling the solid walls around them. Oh, this is not a dream. They're touching the walls. Yes, yes, this is real. And by pinching and embracing one another. So when you pinch, then you feel the pain. So it's not real, it's real pain. This time they concluded, we shall not wake up to misery, but to the fifth and final day of our wedding festival. So big wedding festival for so many days. On that final day, Sridham, Subal, Krishna, and Krishna's other friends were married. Ram and Krishna joyfully attended Sakha's wedding, embraced their friends, and shared in their happiness. In truth, the Gopas had no desire to marry. They did so only to conform to Krishna's mood and wish. For the Gopas, as for the Gopis, Krishna was the only resident of their hearts. Just like Gopis were devoted to Krishna, Gopas were also devoted to Krishna.
But
And
who
then,
are these gopas being married to? All the gopis in the Vrindavan Dham, they want to
yeah,
marry Krishna.
no, it doesn't say here. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. At the conclusion of the Gopa's weddings, Krishna expanded himself into many forms as he had wives and accompanied each wife to her parents' home. In each home, he partook of the grand feast and celebration that followed. Krishna had already come once to his in laws to claim his brides, and thus he relished this ceremony, known as the return of the groom. So he had left to go to Yashoda, and again he came back. So everybody, Krishna accompanied each of the gopis. Even more, traditional to all the Vrajvasi meals, these feasts were festivals of love in which the guests were able to see, hear, and especially taste their host's love for Krishna. But there was a novel feature to this bag. Unlike Krishna's previous meals in Gokul, Vrindavan, and Nandagram, rather than sit among his friends and fathers, Krishna sat like a jewel set in the gold of each of his new brides and their families. The Vrajvasis feasted their eyes upon their black and golden forms and exchanged many jokes about the newlyweds. So now he's sitting with his bride and all the his in-laws and like that. Krishna's marriage to the gopis, just as much as his unwedded pastimes with them, is an eternal feature of his Vrindavan Leela. So here they are saying it's eternal. Krishna's marriage to the gopis, just as much as his unwedded pastimes with them, is an eternal feature of his Vrindavan Leela. All expansions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear within the original form of Godhead, Shyam Sundar. Similarly, all expansions of his associates appear with the original forms of those eternal associates. Thus, the gopis who entered into sacred wedlock with Hari were actually the original Parakya Vraja gopis, partial expansions. Thus, the gopis who entered into sacred wedlock with Hari were actually the original Parakya Vraja gopis, partial expansion, who eternally worshipped Krishna as Swakiya gopis, and who had merged within the original gopis in the Krishna's Prakat. It's confusing what this means. For a detailed explanation that reconciles Krishna's marriage to the gopis with his eternal Parakya Ras, please see the introduction to this book. Okay, what does this mean? The gopis entered into the sacred wedlock with Hari were actually the original Parakya Vraja gopis, partial expansion. They were not the original gopis, they were expansions of the Parakya.
So Prakata Leela means what Krishna performs in Vrindavan or Bhauma Vrindavan. Right. So from the spiritual world, we have these Parakya Vraj gopis. So they're partial expansions of those Parakya Vraj gopis because in the spiritual world it's mostly Parakya. So their partial expansions came as these Swakya gopis in the Prakata Leela, which is a Bhauma Vrindavan.
So this Leela happens in Bhauma Vrindavan, maybe.
Yeah, Prakata Leela means Bhauma Vrindavan.
Okay. So we'll finish this page and stop. Thus, Krishna is the supreme being who reciprocates the endless varieties of love his devotees have for him. Fulfill the desire of those gopis who worshipped him as their wedded husband in Vrindavan. For them, marriage to Krishna was an indispensable feature for their lives, for it brought about the completion of their love. So the Parakya Graj gopis were also there, right? Then Bhauma Vrindavan, then they are still in the Parakya Ras, and there is partial expansions. They got married. So okay. For them, marriage to Krishna was an indispensable feature of their lives, for it brought about the completion of their love. Okay. Um, okay. Those gopis thought, so those gopis who were in Swakiya, they worship Krishna as Swakiya gopis. The goal of our love was to attain an obstructed life with Krishna. Had our love not culminated, was to obtain an obstructed life with Krishna. Which gopis thought? I don't know. Those gopis thought. For them, marriage to